everybody, Merry Christmas. I had work earlier today, and I had this all planned out where, I got off work at 7 o'clock tonight. I was going to come home, and I was going to shoot this nice little Christmas video for you guys. Nothing major, nothing huge, but, I had ideas. I had an idea. As you can probably tell by looking at me, which, by the way, this is the first time I'm actually getting a good look at myself, too, and yeah, it's pretty, damn. But this is not going to be this video. I'm going to have to regale you with a little bit of a story in this video. I apologize for the lack of the Christmas... Oh, wait, hold on. I have... Yeah. Okay, I have this. Yeah, we can, Yeah, Merry fucking Christmas, right? Okay, so... this is going to be a long story, but anyway, let's just get into it. Alright, so... I go to work today, and the day starts out normal. I wake up, fine. I make the 13th day of Bleach Miss video, fine. I get to work, and my friend Casey, who I work with, she got me a Christmas present. She got me this Zangetsu, Tensa Zangetsu umbrella. Yeah, it's an umbrella. And they actually, the hilt and the guard are, authentic. This is actually made of metal, and it's not, a fake thing. It's just, the exact same sword, except it's just an umbrella. So, if I ever get caught in the rain, I can just go Bankai, and I'm good. And I got her a present. My dad stopped by. He gave me a little bag of deer jerky, and I'm like, this is a pretty good day. Everything's good. It's a little bit busy in Dollar Tree, but, it's Christmas Eve. And it's been, warm here. It's been, in the 60, 70 degrees here in the past few days. It's been raining today, but it wasn't that rain that's in the middle of winter that's freezing and shivering. It's a nice, late summer rain in the middle of fucking December. I don't get it, but that's just how it goes. That'll probably be the most unbelievable thing in this entire video. Well, anyway, we have this new guy working for us, though. We got this new guy. It was his first day today. His name's Jeremy, and, he's a good kid. He's still in high school. He's 17, and, it's his first job, and, he's kind of like a more wimpier version of myself, if such a thing could be believed. But, we had one person that was working, and they quit, so we had to hire Jeremy on at the last minute, and this is his first day. So... he's in charge of stocking, and he didn't really know where everything was, because, being a good employee, I've been a Dollar Tree veteran for 4 years, being a good fucking employee, I decided to show him around, just give him a quick tour of the place, just to make sure, and if he had any questions, he could come to me. Oh, God damn it, Jeremy. Alright, so we go in the back room, and I'm just showing him around. I'm like, okay, here's where the canned food is, here's where electronics and housewares, here's where HBC goes. HBC is the health and beauty care shit, in the medical aisle and stuff. And here's party, here's the freezer, here's the break room. And here is the door that leads into the Expensian dungeon where all the evil of the Horde lies. Now, I'm going to ask really quick, if you don't know this story, you might want to go on my channel and watch the History of Dollar Tree video, the Tekking's Day Job video. I'll put a link to it right here in an annotation. It's kind of like a prequel, if you don't know. Turns out, there's this massive army of demons that got, defeated millennia ago, and fragments of their evil are, sealed underneath every Dollar Tree in the world. If you didn't know the story, it's pretty common, but if you didn't know the story, it's there. So, we have this giant door, obviously, that is chained up, that has the Expensian seal right on it, big glowy red seal that says, hey, these fucks are evil, don't open the door, right? It's pretty damn obvious if I do say so myself. So I'm just showing them around, HBC, freezers, break room, evil door that contains all known evil. Any questions? And actually, he did have a question. He wanted to know if he can buy, a drink in the store and then keep it in our refrigerator in the break room. And I said, yes, you can, but you have to make sure to put a receipt on it first so, it doesn't look like you stole anything. And he's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I'm good with that. He's like, so, I'm like, okay, you think you're good back here? If you have any questions, come ask me. I gotta go run register. So he's like, nah, I'm good. I'm just gonna load up a U-boat, which is all the boxes, and take it out, and I'm gonna start stocking shelves. He's like, okay, you're on this, buddy. He seemed pretty confident. So I walked out out of the back room, and I start ringing through. I mean, it's busy today, man. It's Christmas Eve. Bunch of people last-minute shopping, grabbing, you know, wrapping paper and shit, which, if it's Christmas Eve and you don't even have your fucking wrapping paper, I mean, I don't know what the hell's wrong with you. But anyway, people are coming through, whatever. I'm ringing. And then, next thing I know, the fucking back doors get blasted off their fucking hinges, and this fucking D-class demon comes out, this big, huge, burly motherfucker, covered in spikes, and just starts letting out a death roar and starts beating the shit out of everybody around him, grabbing heads, throwing them into freaking walls. You know, and I just kind of turn around, I'm like, God damn it, Jeremy. And he just fucking hits me, knocks me through the fucking plate glass window in front of the store. I get flung out into the fucking parking lot, smack into a freaking convertible, and I land in the freaking parking lot. And I get up, and I just kind of look at my lip got busted open. I'm like, alright, guess we're doing this. So I get up, and I activate my armament hockey, you know, and I just run right for the freaking thing, and this big demon just jumps out of the store, and he starts ripping people down in front of the store on the sidewalk, and he sees me coming, and he lets out this big roar like I'm supposed to be fucking intimidated, and, you know, I just, you know, armament hockey right in my left leg, and I just BAM! Into the freaking center of that thing's chest, and we start fighting out in the parking lot. Now, it's only a D-class demon, so I was in no danger, and I know, by the way, I know what a lot of people are thinking. Wow, Matt, D-class demons, after, you know, named after the, ranked after the alphabet. This is sounding a lot like Yu Yu Hakusho. Okay, guys, seriously, despite the crazy hat, okay, Yu Yu Hakusho was an anime. I mean, it was a pretty good anime, but it was an anime. This is real life we're talking about here, alright? Well, anyway, D-class demon, not really that dangerous. I was in no fear. I mean, to a normal human, sure, it'll rip you apart, but I'm fucking me, so no problem here. It's like, it's just as dangerous as, like, okay, take like a silverback gorilla and then cover this giant silverback gorilla in armor that has spikes all over it. And a couple knives sticking out. Like, it's about that dangerous. I was in no fear of death, you know? So anyway, we start fighting out in the middle of the parking lot. Inside the store, my boss, Jess, she's a great boss, love her to death. She's kind of hot, just throwing that out there. Anyway, yeah, she's coming out and she's like noticing that there's a bunch of dead bodies all over the store, and there's a big hole in the back room, and there's a big hole, you know, in front of the freaking, you know, store, and I'm out there fighting a denizen of the freaking damned. So she goes up to Jeremy and she's like, Jeremy, what did you do? And it's like, well, I opened the door back there. I didn't even really think it was unlocked, but I just, you know, opened it and the chains broke, and, you know, this thing just came running out. I almost pissed my pants. Okay, that was a lie. He did piss his pants. Let's be honest here. And Jessica's like, what? Why would you do that? Why would you open the door? And he's like, I didn't know. Was there a rule against it? And my boss is like, was there a rule against it? Goddamn. That's the stupidest thing ever, right? Is there a rule in opening the obviously evil door? I mean, that's like saying, yeah, there's not a rule for you going into the chemical aisle and drinking an entire bottle of bleach. There's no rule for that. You want to know why? Because it's common fucking sense. You don't do it. Like, hey, guys, pop quiz here for a second, okay? You see this door in the back room of wherever you work. Do you A, fuck with this, or B, do not fuck with this? Everybody out there, of course, is saying B, right? Every single buddy. It's that common sense. God damn it, Jeremy. Okay, so anyway, he let all the freaking evil out, and he's just like, well, I don't know what to do. Whatever. It's right about this time that I kick the fucker right back into the store, and he lands on a nice elderly couple that, you know, whatever, they were old. I'm sure they lived a very nice, fulfilling life, whatever. Death count's pretty high already. That's not really adding much to it. It gets up, and it's squirming, and it's, you know, I ripped off one of its arms, and it's like, oh, God, please spare me. And I'm like, oh, whatever. Boom! And I just freaking armament hockey, punch that thing right through a freaking, like seriously, like, there's a hole in this thing's head as big as a freaking grapefruit, you know, and I just pull it out, and I'm like, flicking the blood off me, and I'm like, ah, jeez, them crackers. This had to be, this freaking Christmas Eve you had to pull this shit, Jeremy. And he's looking over like everyone's looking at this guy like he's the biggest idiot on the planet because, hey, newsflash, he freaking is. So we're like, okay, we're going to have to close the store down and make sure that nothing else gets out. This was right around the time that everything else got out. A bunch of these little bat things started flying all over the store, and these are E-class demons. They're even weaker. They're like little minions, but they're pretty damn agile, and they're getting around, and they're picking all the people up in the store and all the small children, and they're pulling them back into the freaking hell gate, down into the dungeon area, and we're like, oh, great, now we gotta go save all these people. And I'm like, all right, it's cool. Just let me get a freaking drink. And then Jess is like, you know, are we going to go deal? He's like, yeah, it's cool. Just let me go get something to drink and we'll deal with this. Okay, so I go back. I get myself some iced tea. And I'm like, okay, we're getting ready. Let's do this. Give me the keys to the holy sword, Jess. So she's like, are you going to hurt yourself with this again? I'm like, no. I'm fine. I've trained with it. So she gives me the keys. I go into the office, and every Dollar Tree has a case with the holy sword of Dalengod hanging in it. You know, it's kind of like a fire extinguisher. You know, when there's a fire, you use the fire extinguisher to put out the fire. But, you know, we've never used fire extinguishers because there's never been an idiot stupid enough to start a fire inside of our store, just like there's never been an idiot stupid enough to open the freaking sealed gate of the underworld in the back room. We've had some stupid people work for us before, okay? We've had a crack addict working for us before, and even they were not dumb shit enough to open up the door. Jeremy was the dumb shit to open the door. So I go in the office, I unlock the thing, I take out the sword. It's kind of like the Master Sword from Zelda, except it's green. Pretty cool blade. I don't have it anymore. I had to put it back, so I guess I could just use the Tensa Zongetsu sword umbrella as a replica of it for our adventures. So I'm like, all right, guys, we got to go into the freaking dungeon and we got to kill all these things. And Jeremy's like, whoa, why can't we just like seal up the door? And everybody, me, Jess, Casey, Todd, everybody else in the store just looks at Jeremy, and I'm like, seal up the door? How are we gonna do that, Jeremy? Do any of us look like freaking ancient Dalengardian wizards? No, guess what? Because they all died over 4,000 years ago. How are we supposed to seal this door? And he's like, oh, well, what are we going to do now? I was like, oh, what are we going to do now? I'll tell you what we got to do now, Jeremy. We got to go down to that dungeon and we got to kill everything that moves so it doesn't come up here and then steal more people away. All right, we got to do that now, Jeremy. And he's like, well, wait, do I have to do that? I'm like, yes, you have to do. Your dumbass is going to be the first one down there for all the crap you put us through. So Jess is going to stay up to, you know, lock up the store and make sure, you know, that the coroners know what's going on here. There's a special codes for all this stuff, you know. There's death by, you know, you getting a hit and run, death by, you know, shooting or stabbing in the workplace. And we have insurance for the demons, obviously. I mean, you have to fill this stuff out to be a bonded and licensed business. You know, we have special, you know, people we call for this, but, you know, it's like $3,000 just to make that call. Like, hey, the demons got out. I mean, who wants to be that person? But she said, okay, I'll stay in the office. I got to make a bunch of calls. So the people that are going to go down to save, to kill all the demons is going to be me. Because, you know, I'm next in seniority at the Dollar Tree. I'm the freaking king here. My friend Casey, small little blonde girl. My other friend Todd. In fact, we're all pictured right here. We went to a wedding last year, so here's all of us right here hanging out. You know, it's Todd on the right, and then Casey on the left, and then me in the middle, obviously. So yeah, that's my crack team. And then there's freaking Jeremy. So we go to the back room, and, you know, we get ready to go down there. I have the holy sword, and Jeremy's like, wait, don't we need weapons? And Todd and Casey are looking at him like, are you serious? Only the holy sword can be, you know, any of real use of taking out the main evil down there, and Matt's the best one at using a sword. He's like, well, what are you guys going to do? He's like, oh, no, we're going to fight. We're going to win. He's like, well, don't I get something? I'm like, oh, God, fine. Little crybaby Jeremy wants a weapon. So I take out a candy cane and I give it to him. Like, here you go. He's like, this candy cane? Can't I have a knife or something? I was like, that candy cane is going to be just as useful to fight against these things as a knife would be. Or a gun, or a machine gun, or a fucking ballistic explosives, or whatever you want to do. That candy cane's going to be just as useful. Alright? So we all head down there. You know, actually, I kick him down there first because he has to be a little crybaby. He doesn't want to go down the dark, scary stairwell into the underrealm. I'm like, whatever. I just kick his ass down there. We all start walking down. We get down there, and there's this little tiny owl demon guy flying around. His name's Saranaga, and it's some weird S-H. It's had like 3 Q's and 2 Z's. Demons have really retarded names. Anyway, we got down there, and he's like, ooh, you have invaded my, you know, realm or whatever. And I just kind of like stab him through with the sword, and he's impaled on it. And I'm like, okay, where's the boss at? And he's like, I was like, okay, buddy, you're bleeding out. I don't got time for this today. Where's he at? This little intern over here decided to open up the gates. It's Christmas Eve, man. I don't want to have to be doing this. So just tell me where he is so I can just go kill him and go home. And he's like the master's at the bottomest level of our, of the dungeon. And he's like, you have to get through 3 special rooms, each guarded by demons. Like, let me guess. 3 rooms, each guarded by a demon more stronger than before. And he's like, oh, how did you know? I'm like, oh, lucky freaking guess. So I just, kick him off the sword, and then we start down into the pit, and we have to keep walking down. The thing's like a half a mile, like a kilometer freaking down. So we start going down. The first room we enter is this big, huge cavern thing, and we go in, and it's dark down there, but then it starts to get lit up all of a sudden, like these little torches just ignite all around this area, and all of a sudden out pops this insect demon. Its name is Azezsep. And it's just picture a giant centipede, but with a spider front. So it's a spider in the front, but it's a centipede everywhere else. And the centipede's so big, it's actually wrapping around this freaking thing. This giant room. And we're like, okay, this is great. And I'm really cool with it, but as Azezsep, he's just like, are you terrified of my horrifying form? And I guess he was debunking on some of us to be really scared of insects, but I'm cool with it. Spiders aren't insects. Well, actually, centipede is an insect, and spiders are arachnids, so I'm just like, I'm really interested. I love spiders. I love insects in general. So I'm like, oh, I wonder what it is. I wonder if it's more centipede than spider or more spider than centipede. And Todd doesn't give a crap. Todd is the kind of guy that just has no facial expression any moment of the day, but he'll just walk up. He'll just walk up to you and just tell you a really dark joke. Todd's the kind of guy that'll just walk up to you and just casually tell you a dead baby joke or something, and you'll be like, "Geez, Todd, okay." But he's a cool guy. And then Casey, of course, isn't bothered by any of that shit. Jeremy starts freaking out, and he's like, "Oh my God, what is that thing? Holy shit, I don't want to die!" And I'm like, "Oh, would you shut up, man? It's freaking loud. It's a cavern and echoes, you idiot." So he's over there crying, and Azezsep is like, oh, except for that guy, you guys aren't scared of me. I'm like, of course we're not scared of you. Now, Azezsep is a C-class demon, a little bit more harder to deal with, but not really a big deal. The problem is how big the guy was. So I just kind of jump in and just start lashing off parts of his freaking legs. But this guy's huge. So it doesn't matter how much I'm slashing away at it. It doesn't really help much. Now, some demons have special abilities that help them, do things beyond just normal strength and, whatever. Azezsep's deal is that he has 8 eyes in front of him, and if you stare in these eyes, he can suck out your soul. So I'm behind him, just kind of lashing off the thing, and of course, we all know this because he tells us. He's just like, I will stare into your mind and rip out your soul, and Casey and Todd are like, what do you think he means by that? I'm just cutting off the freaking things. He's like, I don't know. Why don't you find out? I'm just going to be over here cutting him until something happens. So he just comes down, and he's just looking straight into Todd's eyes. It's like, I will absorb your essence. And Todd is just like, he's just bland, man. You can't get this guy. His face of stone. You can't get him out of him. And Azezsep's like, what is this? What are you? You're not human. And I'm like, oh, thanks, Todd. While Azezsep is freaking out, I just walk up right in front of him and just jam the freaking holy sword right through his spider skull or wherever that general region was, and I rip it out. And then Azezsep just, the little centipede thing just collapses. And I'm like, okay, well, that was easy. So I'm like, you okay back there, Jeremy? And he's back there in the fetal position, sucking his freaking thumb. I'm like, come on, Jeremy, we gotta get going. This is only level 1. Apparently there's 2 more to go, plus a final boss we have to fight. He's like, can't we just go home? And I'm like, no, how would you feel if this guy, got up to the surface and started terrorizing the city? Aren't you glad we killed this thing? And he's like, yeah, I guess I'm kind of happy we killed this thing. And I'm like, okay, good, because there's still stronger ones down below. So let's get going, shall we? So we pick up Jeremy, we drudge him back down, we keep going down. The next room we come into is a gladiatorial arena designed out, like the entire cavern got carved out with these pillars and shit from Roman mythology, and this entire area is filled with these lower class E-demons just shouting and screaming like the Romans at the Colosseum, and in the center of this stage who welcomes us is this big huge demon, 20 feet tall, big muscular dude, and he announces himself, my name is Gorge. And we just kind of look at him, and he keeps going on this spiel about how, I am the king of all these minions below. I can control them. When he just keeps going on and on about how awesome and how big of a dick he has. And we're just kind of trying to figure out, like, what me and Todd are like, what was his name? Like, did he just say his name was Porridge? And he's like, no, I think it was Gorage. I'm like, what kind of stupid name is Gorage? It's like, no, not Gorage, Gore-Edge. I'm like, oh, right, because, like, gore means bloody and shit, and then edge means, like, he has these huge giant axe blades on either side of his forearms, and he's this big hulking guy. It's like Gore-Edge. I'm like, oh, see, it makes sense now. Well, anyway, he's finishing up his speech. He's going on about how he's going to kill us all, and then I will feed you to eat. I'll make you eat each other before I have my demons come down and spit you at the roast. And I'm like, what the hell is this? That doesn't even make any sense. We eat each other, but then the demons eat us? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And then Casey, Casey, I feel bad for her the worst out of all this. Honestly, I'm not doing much tonight on Christmas Eve. Todd's not even really doing much. Casey had a freaking dinner plan. She's a vegan. She's going to go home and make a nice vegan meal. And she's going to be with her family and her boyfriend. And, like, everything's going to have this whole thing planned. But now she's, like, half a kilometer underground fighting a bunch of demons and giant insect creatures because of freaking Jeremy. Now, she's the nice kind of person. She's not going to go all out and ballistic over Jeremy, but she's had enough of this shit. She just goes up to Porridge, or whatever his name was. It's like, you do not tell me what to do. I am tired of this bullshit. And then all the minions start descending, and Gore-Edge is just kind of taken aback, because he wasn't expecting this. He was expecting, like, all of us to jump him at once, and he's like, bring it on! But no, we have this little 5-foot, sassy blonde girl, giving him the business, and he's just like, I don't know what's going on here. But the minions attack, so me and Todd just start taking them on. No problem, and Casey's just in the background just fighting Gorage, and I kind of looked away for a second. I looked back, and Gorage is on the ground. His arms are all contorted. His, like, neck is broken, and Casey's just like, where is it now, huh? Where is it now? And I'm like, Jesus Christ, woman, calm down. Gee, I know. He seemed like kind of like an uppity demon, but just calm down, woman. Jeez. So she's like, well, he deserved it. I'm like, okay, you're venting. I get it. It's cool. And Todd, that was by far the most terrifying thing we witnessed that tonight. Okay, anyway, so me and Todd finish off the rest of the demons, no problem. Freaking Jeremy is in the corner, one of the littlest, tiniest demons, has a little spear, and he's on top of a rock, like, waving his candy cane, he's like, stay away from me, and he's poking, and he's like, and then I'm like, Jeremy, god damn it. So I go up, and I just slice the freaking demon's head off, and I just, get off the rock, come on, man, we gotta get going. So, and he's like, this is not worth $7.25 an hour, guys. And I'm like, bitch, when I started, I was only getting like $7.15 an hour, so you have no right to complain. So I'm like, all right, so guys, we gotta keep going. So we keep on going down. Right before we walk out of the Coliseum area, though, freaking Porridge is back here throwing a temper tantrum, like, because he just lost to a small blonde girl. He's just like, I will not stand for this, and he keeps pounding at the ground like a toddler. But all this pounding caused all, like, the Greek, the monolith things to fall down, all the pillars to collapse into itself, and it caused a cave-in right between the both of us. So it's me and Jeremy on one side, and then Todd and Casey got stuck on the other side. And they're like, come on, really? And Casey and Todd are like, do you want us to dig through? And it's like, no, we're almost done. We only have one more room left, and then the boss. So I'm like, just head on back, make sure nothing gets out, make sure nothing is still alive or squirming around, make sure Porridge is dead, make sure the freaking insect dude is dead, and just wait for us at the top, we'll be back, me and Jeremy. And Jeremy is looking at me like this eyes, like, why couldn't I be on the other side? I'm like, oh, no, if you were on the other side, we would have made sure that we would have broken through the rubble. We would have wasted hours of our day just to make sure you can continue on this pilgrimage. So we keep on going down. It's just me and Jeremy now. We're heading down. Now keep in mind, I'm still in pretty good shape at this point. All this crap didn't happen until next, Anyway, so I got the busted lip. I got a couple scratches from the spider centipede dude because he kept swacking me. The minions didn't really give me much of any trouble. I got armament hockey. I'm good. So I would use it now, but I kind of overused it in the fight, so I can't really do it for a while. But anyway, me and Jeremy entered the next area, the third level, and we come to this. It's a subterranean lake. It's like this giant lake that's underground, and it's glowing. it's glowing like a bluish green kind of color, and we can tell that in the lake, there's whatever kind of fish is, well, whatever it is, swimming in this lake. It's like emitting like bioluminescence. Like that's where the glow is coming from these fish or shark or whatever is floating in this water. And there's a straight land bridge that connects one side of the bridge to one side of the lake to the other, like breaking the lake up into two halves. It's just this one land bridge, and it's only wide. It's only about as wide as like my desk, like a little bit wider, like barely big enough for two people to walk across. So Jeremy is just like, oh, okay, so I guess we just walk across. I'm like, you dumbass. They're going to expect us, like, okay, there's only two ways we can get across this thing, the next area, is we either walk across the land bridge or we swim. And of course they're not going to expect us to swim. They're going to expect us to walk across the land bridge, and then they're going to jump us. It's like, well, we obviously can't swim. We don't know what's in that water. We don't even know if that is water. And I'm like, yeah, it's true, but we're going to find out. He's like, what do you mean? So I just push him into the freaking lake. So he lands in the lake, starts splashing around. I was like, I don't want to die, I don't want to die, I don't want to die. And I'm like, okay, you know, if you don't want to draw attention to yourself in the water, splashing around, yelling, I don't want to die. You know, sound is carried better in water, right? Well, right around when that happens, he begins to sink, like just get, like right underneath the water. And I'm like, oh shit, well, I told him. You know, whatever, it's the death of Jeremy. Well, it's not the death of Jeremy, because in the next part, he just splashes out of the water, and he's being carried by one arm by this giant mermaid kind of creature. Not really giant, but, you know, like 6-7 feet, decent size, giant compared to me. And it's like a mermaid. And this mermaid, I mean, she's hot. I mean, she looks like a mermaid version of Urza Scarlet, pretty much. She's got the red hair, you know, nice complexion, huge tits. And she's holding up Jeremy, and she just like kind of throws him back to shore. And she's just like, I am Selfina, the guardian of this lake. And I'm like, okay. And she comes up to me, and then she looks into my eyes, and she grabs me and trying to act all seductive. And you can tell that she's trying to like enchant me or something to follow her or something. It's like, would you follow me into the underwater depths to be with me for all time? And I'm just like, yeah, okay, that's nice. BAM! And I just fucking armament hockey punch this bitch right in the front of the nose and just gets knocked right back into the center of the lake and splashes into the water. And I pick up Jeremy, and he's gasping for air. He's like, oh, yeah, I thought I was going to die there. I'm like, yeah, whatever, man. Did you see that? I just like Saitama One-Punch Man that mermaid bitch. And he's like, okay, that's cool. And I'm like, so, but yeah, I think you're right. I think we should probably take the land bridge. And he's like, oh, God. So we start across the land bridge. Now, this land bridge is not very wide, so Jeremy is walking behind me. So we're about halfway through walking down, halfway on this land bridge, and then all of a sudden, all the luminescence of the lake, the bluish green, that turns to like crimson red, like blood red. Like all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, this probably isn't good. So out of the water splashes Selfina again, but she's gone through like this metamorphosis. It's like her hair is all wild, and now it has like water moccasin snakes as part of it, and she's got like more ferocious gills and fangs and claws, and I'm pretty sure her boobs got way bigger. In fact, I even asked her, I'm like, wow, that's intimidating. Hey, did your tits get bigger? And she just starts screaming at me. She doesn't even give me the chance to option. But I'm pretty sure, I mean, I know my tits, I think pretty sure they got at least up like 2 cup sizes. But anyway, she jumps at me, right, and Jeremy, here's the problem. I could have taken her no problem, but Jeremy is behind me, and he immediately like jumps up behind me. He's like, I don't want to die. I'm like, ah, man. So I'm like deflecting her, but she's like wicked fast, and she has like claws and fangs and extra claws coming out of her forearm, so she's ripping me to shreds. This is where most of this shit came from. And I'm like, I'm attacking. I have like my sword in my right hand, swinging it, trying to attack, and I have armament on my left arm, trying to block as much shit as possible. But this bitch is fast, and I got like not a lot of footing to work with, and I got Jeremy screaming behind me, holding onto my back. So I'm like, okay, Jeremy, this isn't working. I need to get rid of you. And I just kind of elbow him in the back. And I mean, well, from my back, I elbow him in, like, the stomach, and he gets sent flying back on the land bridge, and I realized, oh, wait, I elbowed him with my armament arm. I think I might have broken some of your ribs. Sorry, Jeremy. Not really. I'm not sorry. Well, anyway, while he does that, I get distracted very briefly, and Selfina comes up and just strikes me right across the freaking chest. That's where this shit came from. So, I'm like, ow! And I just, boom! And I punch her right in her freaking, in her, like, this area, upper chest area. She gets knocked back, and I'm like, okay, I gotta do this technique. Now, I don't like using this technique with my swordsmanship because it takes a while to build up, and its range is very limited. But considering I'm on like a land bridge with not a lot of room to work with anyway, even with a limited range, I know this attack's gonna work. So I raise my sword up like this, do a couple deep breath exercises while she tries to, compose herself and, do whatever she's doing. And just when she gets ready to come back at me and she lunges my attack, I use my secret technique, one sword style secret technique, Laterius, and I just swipe it down in a vertical motion, and all it is, it's a straight cut that moves in just a perfectly, vertical line forward. And it's not very useful in a normal fight, because just a straight vertical line, your opponents can dodge that shit easy. But considering we're on a land bridge with just a straight shot, I'm like just right down the center mass. And I knew I was going to hit her, because she's bigger than the land bridge. Like, part of her tail is still in the water. So I knew that she was gonna get hit by it, but my god, this was so serendipitous. It worked perfectly. Like, right as she was starting to lunge at me, I bring it down, and it dead center, like right between her eyes, right down her freaking center, right between her massive mermaid, like, F-cup tits, and she just right in half, and just both halves just fall in the water. And I'm like, oh, okay. Woo! Can you believe I did that? That was awesome! Jeremy, did you just check that? I just split this mermaid bitch in half! That was awesome! Jeremy's back there, he's coughing up blood. He's like, I think you broke something. And I'm like, oh, quit it. Quit complaining, Jeremy. That was awesome, and you know it. Man, I wish I could have recorded that. Alright, so you're ready to keep going? Jeremy's like puking up blood in the side of the pool, and I'm like, alright, let's go, buddy. So we start walking across the lake. We get to the lake. We start walking down to the final part. Now, we're entering the boss's domain. Now, the thing about the Expensian Horde is that these, it was a tree that they were originally sealed in, if you remember from the video I showed you about earlier. It's the one tree. And so when we get further down, we notice that the roots of the one tree are getting much bigger until the final room is pretty much nothing but roots. And the one particular demon that's sealed away, because there's a different fragment of the evil sealed away at every Dollar Tree. This fragment of the demon is called Xanatus. And he is bound into the roots of this tree, and he kind of looks like. Did you ever play I think it was like Earthbound with Gygus? The guy you kill with the prayers. He has that weird, creepy face that just kind of follows you around. He's like that. He's like this humanoid body, but he's just covered in faces, and he's like sealed into the trunk of this tree, the roots of this tree. So we enter Xanatus's chamber. And I'm like, and Jeremy's like, okay, what do we do? And he's like, well, I'm going to run up to that guy and I'm going to kill him before he decides to wake the fuck up and kill us all, because Xanatus is the real source of all this evil, of all these demons we've been fighting. He's the true Expensian. All these other guys are just kind of they kind of came into existence because of Xanatus's evil. Like that giant centipede spider guy, that might have just been like a normal centipede and spider that was just warped into this. The mermaid might have just been like this nice little fish living in an underground like lake or whatever, like in the sewer, like a goldfish somebody flushed and turned into Sylphina. So oh, by the way, both Gorage and Sylphina were level level A demons. All right, so they were pretty dang. So this guy though, he's level S. He's S class. He's dangerous. We need to kill him like immediately. So we go up to him and I try to stab him, but then the freaking roots of the tree sprout up and block my sword. I'm like, what the hell? So it turns out that being sealed away for this long, Xanatus is evil. Like, he lost his physical body. Like, his physical body is part of the tree, but his evil corrupted the tree around him, so now he can control the tree, and he can manipulate it to the point where he can summon, like, wood clones of himself, and these wood clones are like lumbering zombies. Now, I know you might be thinking right now, this is like Hashirama from Naruto, and you're basically right. I have to fight freaking the first Hokage with an unlimited supply of wood clones. So, yeah, this is not my day, and, they're not really that problematic, but every time you cut one, it just, it's kind of one of those things, you cut one, two more show up and just split, and it's just this endless cycle, and it's an exercise of fertility, and you have to multiply that with the fact that pretty much the entire room hates you, because the entire room is trying to stab you with all these twigs and branches, and I gotta block all this shit, and I'm getting run through, I'm getting my ass kicked, I'm getting screwed over, I'll tell you that much. It's like, you know that final battle in One Punch Man between Saitama and Boros like punches Saitama through like 16 pillars? That's what I'm getting. Except with trees. I'm getting punched and getting knocked through trees and shit. And I'm killing as many as possible, but, you know, they just keep coming. And I have to get to his main body. And I'm like, Jeremy, you have to kill this thing. Get to its main body. And Jeremy's like, I don't know what to do. All I have is a candy cane. And I guess Xanatus notices that Jeremy is no threat because he doesn't even touch the dude. Well, anyway, I'm getting tired of this because there's like about 100 of these fucking things in this room now. So I'm like, okay, I've had enough of this. I'm getting my ass kicked. I need to do my super secret, my ultimate technique, and I really don't like using this one because this really is dangerous to myself. It's called Hazard Cut, and it's a cut that like the entire area gets covered in slashes, but I don't really pay attention to myself, so I can get injured by this as well. So I do it. I do Hazard Cut, and like the entire area just gets shredded, and there's just wood and scraps everywhere. I'm gonna be picking splinters out of myself forever. I get cut by myself a little bit, like this right here. This is from me. This is from me. But it's not too bad. But I'm still heavily winded after the attack, and I'm like, all right, gotta take the guy out. And Xanatus, his main body has been freed for the moment, so I have a straight shot, and I'm like, okay, it's this now or nothing. I'm taking you down, Xanatus, and I run right for him. And it's at this moment that Jeremy finally decided to do something. This entire time, he's just been bawling and complaining like a kid on vacation and with sand in his shorts. But now is the time he decides to do something. He decides to take his candy cane and throw it at Xanatus. Like that's really gonna purge infinite evil of a less S-class variety. Well, he chucks the fucking candy cane at him, right as I'm, like, about to thrust right into his heart and purge his evil being. But the candy cane smacked me upside the head, and I deviated slightly, and I stabbed him in the shoulder, missing his heart. And then his eyes all lit up, and he's like, "What?" And I'm like, Jeremy, you son of a... And I just get, like, fucked 16 ways by these twigs. And I get knocked back on the ground, and the sword gets knocked out of my hand. It lands in front of Jeremy, and I'm like impaled, seriously, you know, and freaking Xanatus begins to be freed from his wooden tomb, and his true body reveals himself, and he's like, "You darling guardian fool, I am the evil of the Expensians made incarnate. I will now rule the surface world as my blah blah blah." And I'm sitting down, and I'm like, okay, if I'm dying here, my last words are going to be, God damn it, Jeremy. Well, Jeremy then picks up the sword, and then out of some, like, child of prophecy crap, the sword, the holy sword of the Expensians glows a bright emerald green and erupts in a flare. You know, the sword gets, like, 3 times bigger than it is that Jeremy's holding it, and Jeremy's like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, oh god, he's the freaking child of prophecy. You gotta be shitting me. So, he's the child of prophecy, and now and Xanatus is like, "No! It can't be! It's the true one!" And I'm like, oh no, he's the true one. And so this huge light beam, he just kind of swings it. I don't even know if he meant to swing it. He might have just been like, nervous reaction, like, I don't know what's going on! Well, he swings it, and the light pierces Xanatus, and his entire body disintegrates into, like, it gets atomized on the spot. And he's dead. And Jeremy wins. And it's like, the light fades, and he's like, holy crap, did I do that? And I stand up, and I'm like, and the limbs all disintegrate as well, and I stand up, and I'm like, oh god, no. And he's like, what just happened? I'm like, you're the child of prophecy, that's what happened. He's like, what does that mean? I'm like, damn, you really didn't read the Dollar Tree handbook, did you? I mean, it lays this all out for you, you know, the Expensians, the evil, the door you're not supposed to open, the freaking child of prophecy myth, you know, one day there will be a recruit in Dollar Tree that will save the world and rally his Dollar Tree soldiers together. And he's like, that's me? And I'm like, yeah, that's you. And he's like, well, that's pretty cool. And I'm like, yeah, it is. BAM! And I just smack him right across his freaking dumbass face. He gets sent into a wall, and he's like, what are you doing? I'm the child of prophecy. And I'm like, yeah, we're not doing this. That's bullcrap. You're not going back up to the surface telling everybody, I defeated the evil demon that was the controller of all the demons. He's like, but that's what happened, isn't it? I'm like, yeah. Well, guess what? I'm sorry, Jeremy, but that's not what happened. And I'm like, I'm the one that did everything here. I'm the one that killed the demon upstairs. I'm the one that led this charge down here. I'm the one that killed most of the demons today. And I'm the one that's going to take the credit for this crap. And you're supposed to take all the credit? Bullshit. Why? Because you were written as some child of prophecy? All you did was cry and piss your pants since we got down here. I'm not dealing with this crap. I'm taking the credit for killing this guy. So I'm like, it was like, but that's not what happened. I'm going to tell them otherwise. And I'm like, yeah, well, it sucks for you, Jeremy, because you got impaled by limbs and died down here. And I'm like, wait, what happened? Armament hockey right through his chest, grabbed his heart and crushed it. Pretty common move, do it all the time. And as he collapses to the ground in his own blood and he begins to sputter, because it takes a few seconds for, to actually die after your heart has been removed and crushed, he looks up at me like these little eyes, like, I can't believe you just ripped my heart out of my open chest cavity. And I'm like, yeah, I can't either. So I pick up the sword and I'm like, good night, Jeremy. You were fun working with. You're a nice kid. You're a nice kid. So, Jeremy dies. I climb up the root. There's like a passage that leads back up to the surface. So I get back up to the surface, and everyone's looking at me, and I'm like, holy crap, did you kill it? Like, yeah, I killed this mermaid bitch, and then Xanatus was down there. This was a wood demon kind of guy. I killed him. He's like, well, what happened to Jeremy? And I'm like, oh, man, we made it to the final room, but Jeremy got impaled by this guy as soon as we walked in. It was pretty sad. He died in my arms. And his last words were like, please let them know how awesome you fought against these things, Matt. And I'm like, I will let them know, Jeremy. So Jeremy died in my arms, and Jessica, my boss, she's like, wow, that seems pretty sad. I mean, I was going to put, he had stuff to do. He had work to do. And I'm like, I know, Jess, I'm sorry. And he's like, well, can you guys run register because we're still pretty busy? And I'm like, yeah, we can do that. So I went out and I finished up my day ringing register. There was this one lady that was really weird, too. I'm up there ringing, and this one lady comes up to me, and she starts telling me about her dead child, her grandson that died, like, 5 years ago on Christmas Eve. And I'm like, that's pretty sad, lady, but what do you expect me... Like, what am I supposed to say to that? Like, your grandson... I'm sorry, but she kept going on and on about it, like, telling everybody. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I think they might want to keep that to yourself, I guess. I mean, whatever. Well, anyway, we finished up the shift, and I left. We got out early. We got around 7 o'clock. I went to Get-Go, got myself a sandwich, came home. And here we are. So, I'm sorry, guys. I didn't have time to do our fun little Christmas video. Sorry. But, shit happens. Freaking stupid people open up doors and you have to go kill demons. Part of our everyday jobs. Freaking... Damn it. God damn it, Jeremy. Well, anyway, I thank you guys for watching. Hope you have a nice Christmas. This will be Tekking101 signing out. Later, guys.